Jaws of Oblivion is finally out, and there are plenty of things that I am excited to try out. And I know that many of you are probably hoping to see some invade action, and don't get me wrong, we're going to do that on the channel here at some point. But there's a couple of decks that I was personally really excited to try, and so we're going to start with one of those. This time around it is Curse Scout, because it got some cool new tools that I am really looking forward to abusing, specifically things like Bitterfish Witch and Bloody Hand Chef. And I've played this a little bit on stream already, and it seems to be at least serviceable, and I've been enjoying it, so that's what we're going to do for today. This is the deck list. There will be the deck code in the video description, like always, and this is a deck testing video, so we're going to go play 2 games, win or lose on the ladder. Ignore that login reward coming up there, because that is not saying anything about how late and or early in the morning I am filming this. We're going to pretend like I'm wide-eyed and bushy-tailed and awake, but yeah, we're going to start with this. Other decks that I've been excited to try out are the Unrelenting Monk, because of the Heist, and Unite the Houses, because it got some new tools, and I played those on stream, and we will absolutely do videos on those. And then yes, we will also do some Invade. I want to do Invade Guildsworn, I want to do Invade Redoran, maybe even Daggerfall as well, but the other two were what immediately jumped out at me, and I don't think we want any of these in our opener. Better-ish. Alright. Far more serviceable. I think this is okay. Alright, so this is where we tip our hand and we say to our opponent, we are not your father's scout deck. We are bringing the heat. I will also at some point want to, I think, revisit Orcs, because Orcs got some cool new tools. Oh, that is problematic.
Too late for you.
This is hard because I think we get rid of this, even though this is our play next turn. Because Necromancer is going to be important for a couple of things. Necromancer is maybe the correct thing to get rid of there. Who knows, but
by the fires of Oblivion.
I got a feeling against this Telvanni player here, keeping the charge creatures is going to be very relevant. Let's do this here.
The stench of the living.
And honestly, this here as well. Now they could have some sort of removal for this. Right, like they could be slopping the tome down.
Wrong place for a midnight stroll.
I bark and birth. This is interesting.
Alright, so top decking this Leaf Lurker means we can spare one for sure. Let's go ahead and just get this off the board as well. Ice Storm here is a concern. Doesn't seem like they have it. Alright, so this is Barrowstalker, Daggerfall, Tree Miner. Actually, you can kind of take their pick there. They can kind of take their pick there. We could get back our Barrowstalker if we wanted, but we probably want to wait and res these for more value, if I had to guess. So this is going to be a Cliff Racer turn. So they take control of the field lane for now. I suppose that's fine if we keep pressuring, because this is kind of like a mid-range tempo list.
I will keep Sotha Sill's people alive.
Out upon
so we still have more Leaf Lurkers. So I think we're just gonna trade a Lurker for a Lurker so that we can keep pushing damage. Zivkin was a consideration there as well. Would have got the same thing done, but having 2 things that swing for 4 as opposed to this, this is just the more aggressive play. It makes more sense. Though Zivkin is nice to keep bringing back with Necromancer. It's also the sort of thing that we run a pair of them in this deck just because it works so well with Sheer Point. So if you're playing against Decks that have a lot of guards, for example. That's usually your play. Alright. Just straight, old-fashioned. Oh, that's a great top deck now, isn't it? Guess we'll do the old face racer and then just hope that they can't gain a ton of health because we've got the Pack Daddy.
Put in a dishonest day's work.
Alright. As long as it's not squished to the Wimpy to gain that health, we're fine. And we get the good game. The old Pack Daddy. Galen and a Necromancer actually could have let us maybe start trying to fight for the long game, but we will take a victory. That is one game down. Get some game rewards. 'Cause who doesn't love rewards? But this is a deck testing video, so if you're unfamiliar with the format, I mentioned it earlier, we play 2 games, win or lose, on the ranked ladder. Sometimes it results in me showing off quite a few losses. But that's okay, I'm not ashamed. Everybody loses. Everybody loses. There's no point in being ashamed. Everybody makes play mistakes. Even some of literally the best players in the world, the best Legends players, make play mistakes. I know it's unheard of, but even Thuldir, yes, even Thuldir has made play mistakes. Alright, this is probably an aggressive assassin or a burn assassin. If they're playing this and just going all in, it makes sense. Oh yeah, there it is. So we're gonna contest that with the Mammoth here.
Didn't see this coming, eh?
Yes, they can trade into that, but that's like a 2-for-1, and we're okay with that. But this could be a tough matchup for us because we don't really have a good source of drain. And our hand at the moment doesn't give us those tempo plays that we like. No Bitterfish, no Murkwater Scourge. The kinds of things where you put a body on the board and deny them. Because that's ultimately what you're looking for. Okay, I like this potential setup here.
Surprise!
The longer the odds,
Let's get this pumped. Let's run this over. And let's even do this as well. Maybe eat that 4-2, but the real key there is we're trying to protect that 5-3 so it can keep swinging. But we don't have a play for next turn, which is a bit of a downfall. And they've answered in kind. So we come out of that exchange. Well, that's actually kind of nice.
time to die.
We come out of that exchange relatively okay. I'm worried about chargers like Cliff Racer, so sadly this still has to come over here. Necromancer, I think, is actually the best thing to discard. I know that seems weird, but burst damage is relevant, and this is a great, as I said before, tempo play removal. Meanwhile, Necromancer really only bringing back Barrow Stalkers. So. Hey, look, remember when I said I was worried about Cliff Racer? I was worried about Cliff Racer. So,
You bet on the wrong side.
just does this. Let's answer with our own Cliff Racer. So again, just maintaining board presence to push forward. Next couple of turns, we've got Sheer Point, we've got Nahagleave. The dragons will help us get the job done. I'm pretty confident. Nahagleave, unless this is an assassin that magically also runs Viper, which they could, but otherwise Nahagleave is going to be a real problem for them. The only thing that I think we would worry about in that regard at that point would be like an endless stream of shackles, perhaps. Alright, well, I was going to play Sheer Point, but then they went and they didn't put anything on the board. So let's just go with Gatekeeper instead for the body. That's argument to be made that maybe you just play these two because this has Drain, but I would rather just try to threaten
these.
as much damage as possible, I think.
Khajiit doesn't need to be followed.
Because also when we enter with Nahagli this next turn, we're also guarded up in both lanes, which is very significant.
Khajiit likes these. Khajiit doesn't need to be
Now they could have Leaf Lurker. It's another way they can get rid of our Nahagli, right?
Hiding will not save you.
But I like the dragon play here. So Leaf Lurker, Shrieking Harpy, things like that could slow us down.
This might be handy.
Depending on what's in their hand, they could also just trade into it, but I think that ends up being a net win for us overall. More Leaf Lurkers that are not really helping.
Sees all.
Black Hand helps them try to get there. They're hitting us with the burst.
Khajiit
That's
doesn't
good enough
need
to put them outside of lethal range, which is what we're trying to push for here, but
likes these. Khajiit doesn't need to be followed.
and not only that, we did not really top deck any help, so
I smell
actually
the
think that the
stench
play
of the
here-
living.
I don't think we break the rune. Because we don't have lethal. We were one off. I don't think it makes sense. Because at 10 and they have 9 Magicka, like we legitimately could just be dead here. Like this could very well just be them doing this into Lightning Bolt. Cliff Racer there. Alright, but they didn't have the Lightning Bolt, so we should be fine. With only one Magicka left, no good way to stop us.
These.
So we should be fine. That was scary. That was a concern. So there is, again, like if one rune deep would have been enough to give them a Lightning Bolt, we would have lost there, you know? I mean, there was a chance we would have lost anyway, but I really feel like not breaking that rune was correct. So anyway, that's 2 games, win or lose, and we're starting off our Jaws of Oblivion deck testing videos with a nice clean 2-0. I'm excited for the set. There's like, I literally have a big list of just like decks and videos I want to make, so it's going to be good stuff for like the next 2 weeks probably. But if you made it this far, I appreciate you. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing, and until next time, may you walk on warm sands.